Welcome back to Just Jay's Honest Reviews. This is part 2 of my Married at First Sight review. Over the seasons, uh, I've seen a lot of good and a lot of negative. And I think the negative at this point has outweighed the good. And what I dislike about this show is that the show has gotten so loose with their structure and how they used to be, that they have allowed a lot of people to come on simply for the fame, because the show before, you knew what it entailed, right? I would say after maybe the third or fourth season, when it got really popular, you knew that you were going to have to give up a certain amount of time of privacy at home to film. You knew there was going to be cameras in your face, and you knew it wasn't going to be easy. And I'm not saying that I could do it, because I absolutely positively could not have somebody all up in my business. However, if you're coming on this show and your main objective is to find somebody you're going to spend your life with, to get married to have children, to build a life with, to be there in the hard times, then 8 weeks usually is what it's what it's supposed to be. It's not much, I would think, to sacrifice. And the problem is that they're only sacrificing this thing to, sacrificing that time for fame. And then when they get on the show, they want to shut down. They don't want to talk to their partner. They want to hide and try to flip the narrative to make themselves look better, and then they end up really cutting their nose off to spite their face and ruin or throw away even their possibility of a good match. And a lot of times that I've seen, the new trend of the show is that they'll just say, you know what, I don't want to do this, and I want to break up, and they treat it like a breakup instead of someone who's actually legally married. They treat it like someone who, like they would dating. And I think the biggest requirement that should be in place is that you need to have proof that you've gone to some type of therapy, because a lot of these people are coming on here and they haven't dated in months, or not even months. They haven't dated in years. A lot of these people, if you listen, they will tell you they haven't had a serious relationship in like 4 or more years. And then they're asked the question, why are you ready to get married? And the answers usually sound decent. However, their actions don't back it up, and they are so rigid in what they want, and they aren't willing to compromise. They're not willing to be honest. They're not willing to be transparent. They're not willing to be vulnerable. And they have cheated. A lot of these couples have been cheated. Like if you go back to, I want to say, the first season, which if we go back to this season, you see the bottom right, the couple in the blue standing in front of the background with the white house or the white building with the trees, the blue tuxedo. That man, I think he was the first one to really be cheated out of a marriage, because after the honeymoon, the day they got married, if you go back and you watch the episode, you'll see that it seemed like they were decent, they were getting along, and then when it comes time to go back to the hotel, she wants the producers to get her an entirely different hotel. And then after that, they get back to the part of the season where you're supposed to move in together. They give you a shared apartment for the duration of the show, and then you move in together to this shared space instead of them moving into one of their personal homes. You move into this shared space. She didn't want to move into the shared space, and he finally said, okay. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks in, probably not even 3 weeks in. 2 weeks in, he says, she tells me that there was no possibility of her wanting to marry me, or not even, I mean, sorry, not wanting to marry me, but wanting to be with me. So he got divorced. And she says, well, that's not fair because I, you know, I came, I want to, like, if we have to move out, then I live like an hour away and I won't be able to hang out with the other girls. Like, she was more worried about hanging out with the other wives as opposed to actually trying to be a wife. And that, I think this was the first season where that trend started. And then once we get to this season, you see the guy that's holding up the glass of alcohol in the back. Him and the woman that he married, which I don't think she's in the picture. You can't see her, but she has a cowgirl boot. That's her boot. You can't see her face. Her name was Dom, I think Dominique. But they ended up divorcing, I think, not even halfway through, so maybe like 3 or 4 episodes into the season, they ended up divorcing and never actually being able to fully give it a try. And I think that's just the problem with these shows, is that they are just pushing out episodes, pushing out seasons. They're not actually picking people who are committed to the process. Um, and I can't remember how many couples they've had, but I want to say out of maybe 100 couples, only maybe 20 are still married, something like that. I mean, my numbers aren't exact, but it's, less than a fourth for sure that are still married. Um, I really think that this show is a good idea, just like Love and the other the Netflix show, because this is not a Netflix show, but the Netflix show with Nick Lachey, Love is Blind. I think that in real life could be a great concept, um, if that was like an actual business where you come and you maybe get a subscription and then you sit into pods, as they say, and you just talk to people. You sit in pods and you talk to people. I think that would be great, um, for people's dating lives. But again, it's on TV, it's in media, and people are only joining, I don't think, with the purest of intentions. And the people who are joining with intentions are really getting ripped off. Um, I think that this tool is good for people who are struggling with meeting somebody. So I just wish people valued marriage, valued people being honest. Um, I just think that it would make the show so much better if we can get back to the roots. So hopefully, if they do have a new season, they'll take time. It may not be for another 2 years, but I hope that if the show ever comes back, because it doesn't look like it's been renewed, but if the show ever comes back, I hope that it comes back um, better. Come back with um, a new cast, and come back with people who are serious about their future, who genuinely want to be um, married to somebody who wants to be married, and who will put in the work, and who won't just run away when time gets hard. So, um, that's my honest review of Married at First Sight as a whole. I think that I do like Pastor Cal and I do like Dr. Pepper. I just wish that they would go back to their original formula. If you go back to the first couple seasons, they had the preview episode, then they had the episode where you kind of get asked a bunch of questions, and then they had the first episode where you get to see people get married. So if we go back to that, I think everything will be good. So thanks for listening, and I hope you come back.